Hey everyone, it's Crystal here. So hashtag live if you're watching live, hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. So are you experiencing a sexless marriage? And this tends to happen to people in long-term relationships, but it can even happen to people who have been a year or 2 years in, maybe even 3 years. And it used to be very often, but now it's once a week, twice a month, once every 3 months, and forced upon. And we have this notion that sex is just the act. Sex is just the act of doing something with somebody else. And what we need to understand that it's even deeper than that. So maybe you've gone to read some marriage books or self-help books about sex and your relationship, and it sounds great, but you can't seem to apply it. And maybe you've gone to get your hormones checked to make sure you're all good, and you check out perfectly fine. Or maybe you have gotten some advice on how to reinstate sex in your marriage, but you haven't been able to apply it. It hasn't worked for you. Let me unpack this for you so you have a bigger and brighter future ahead of you to reinstate sex into your marriage. So as relationships ebb and flow, sometimes we get caught up in the ebb, and that ebb pulls us down. The stresses of life, the responsibilities, the requirements, the demands financially, with other people, through your relationships of what you need from them, how other external relationships, maybe with family members, your parents, how they impact the way you feel. And also certain states of anxiety and depression. Maybe you're depressed at work. Maybe the overwhelm of your family life is causing you to feel depressed. Maybe the anxiety of the current state of affairs in the world and the cost of living has caused you all of this turmoil inside. And maybe you have not connected with your spouse or partner for quite some time. And when I say connected, I don't mean guys like sitting on the couch watching TV together and, being in the same room with one another. I mean like really connect. And that connection maybe isn't available to you right now. Maybe there's some tension between you two. You find yourselves always complaining about little habits like leaving the toilet seat up, or perhaps not cleaning up after yourself, or leaving your towel on the floor, or small little nuances that we get irritated and agitated about. And it causes a further divide and stress upon the relationship. And sexless marriages start to happen when there are some resentments and grudges that you have towards your partner, but they're even deeper seated. Maybe you're frustrated with your partner's alcoholic habits, or their smoking habits, or always on the phone, or playing video games, or whatever that may be, and you don't find that you're spending enough time with one another. This is how you can start over and actually start making sex more of an opportunity in your relationship to deeply connect. So we want to spark that fire again in the relationship. And what most people don't understand is sex is not only physical, it's highly psychological. And there is such a huge psychological component in having sex, that we don't really give it that much attention because we're so focused on the act. So if you are experiencing a sexless marriage, I assure you that there is a mood in the household, in an environment that you guys have had between you two that probably isn't a very productive, conducive way to create a sexual moment. So what's very necessary here is not necessarily two people, but the start of one person to make radical changes in the way they've been feeling. Because energy matches energy, and when we have a higher energetic feeling of ourselves and the way we feel about ourselves, maybe certain things that we've been holding on as grudges towards that other person or grievances towards them, these are affecting our energetic connection with the other person. So it starts with one person, and one person making that radical shift in the way they've been feeling, healing some past hurts, changing their belief around their partner and the way things have been, the environment of your relationship that has been this way for probably quite some time, keeping you in the ebb and not allowing you to flow. And this is where we need to do that deep subconscious emotional detox, where we detox the emotions so you can respond and see your partner in a different light. So you can let certain things melt away and not hinder you from creating intimacy, which starts at the minute you wake up, the moment you open your eyes. And you can start building a different relationship. Yes, starting with you. Because how you feel on the inside is reflective on the outside. But if you don't feel like that anymore, if you don't think those thoughts anymore, if those beliefs are no longer yours, where you believe your partner is a slob and they don't do anything to make you happy and all these things, when we start shifting all of that dialogue that we have in our mind to be like, I could see them and appreciate them for who they are. I know that they deeply love me, but definitely they have some demons of their own that they need to deal with. And when we start cultivating a different way of ourselves, a different response, there's no way that the old ways of being and responses could occur again. There's no way. Because when they see you change, they have one of two choices, either to recognize it and to follow along with it, or to ignore it. But it's very hard to ignore because not only is one person suffering from a sexless marriage, both people are suffering from a sexless marriage. And so when we work on the way we feel about ourselves, we show up differently. We have this different energy around us. We act different. We think different. We feel different. And our partner gravitates and feels that something is different. And that encourages something different to happen in that environment. That environment changes, the mood changes, and you can have a real solution-oriented based conversation around what's been happening and be able to come to a different resolution than you've ever had before, because now you are acting different, you're being different, you're seeing things different, and you can respond differently to have that conversation and be like, hey, I would love if you would discuss the lack of sex in our marriage, because this is something very important to me. And I know you love me and we want the best for one another. So this is an important conversation that we have to have. And then you spill it out, but not pointing at them saying, you did this, you did this. I feel like this and I need this. And it would be great if we could connect and do things that are intimate and learn what your love language is. Learn that your partner has a love language too, where touching is involved, certain words, caressing, acts of kindness. These are all acts of love. And we start with that intimacy after we get past our blockages that are preventing us to create intimacy. And then those intimate moments grow and continue to energize the relationship with love, where then sexual experiences happen spontaneously. Hey, maybe even 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Maybe right after work, instead of needing to go make dinner right away, you have a little rendezvous. It becomes an energetic force field versus just an act. And it starts with the way we're thinking. Starts with the beliefs that we have, because it is also psychological. And depression, anxiety, stress really lowers the libido and really takes away that flow of positive energy to energize sex. Because sex is an energy. It's an energetic thing that we do for our bodies. And so we have to bring the right type of energy. We have to create and cultivate that, but we have to get past our own barriers first to invite that kind of environment into our space, into our homes, and into our relationship. So if this is something that you would love to get help with, because you don't want to get divorced, you don't want to separate your family, you don't want to give up on this marriage, and you don't want to make this the be-all end-all of your relationship, then let's talk. And I invite you for a complimentary consultation where we dive a little deeper on what you've been thinking, feeling, how things have been affecting you. And we dive deeper on how this could be a solution for you so you don't have to go through those ways of separating, which in fact not only cost a lot of money, but cost you a lot of emotions and cost you your identity. But you can actually rebound, bounce back, and create a sex-filled marriage. So I'll leave my link below, and I'm having a masterclass this Sunday on loving sex and building incredible intimacy. Join me. It's a free interactive masterclass where you will engage with the process, learn a little bit more about yourself, and be able to broaden your awareness on what's been hindering you, what's the elephant in the room, what's preventing you from moving forward. I hope you're able to get some value out of that today. I'll see you soon.